17th episode of the Happiness Project, and thank you for tuning in. As you all know, my podcast is now listed on 8 plus platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and Google. And with the staunch support from you guys, my podcast has now reached to more than 50 countries. Thank you so much for all your support. Please keep sharing your learnings and experiences of how my podcast has transformed your life in every little way possible. Moving on to the episode today, I want to ask you a question. What can you think of when you think of the term wellness? Diet, physical fitness, being healthy, or free from illness? Yes, most of what you think is right, but wellness is more than that. But before I move on to explaining what wellness truly means, I would like to throw some insight into clarifying what wellness is not. Number one, wellness is not just about dieting. Number two, wellness lifestyle is not just about losing weight, rather, a true lifestyle change which focuses on nourishing and strengthening your mind, body, and soul. Number three, there is no quick cure potion to wellness. When one chooses to be well, they decide to make choices towards a healthy life. Wellness involves a certain level of awareness about our current state of health in multiple dimensions, from physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and social. If any one area is overlooked, you won't achieve your highest potential, even if other areas are greatly developed. Think about it. If you have a splitting headache, do you feel like sitting down to work? Do you want to deal with a frustrating boss or a fussy toddler? Of course not. If your back aches or your stomach is upset, do you feel like meditating? I would be willing to bet you would not. If you've just had a terrible argument with your significant other, is it difficult to concentrate at work? How easy is to then just eat junk food or overeat to comfort yourself? For example, when someone is anxious about a job interview, his or her nervousness may result in a physical reaction such as a headache, sweat, rash, or a stomach upset. When people suppress their emotions and feelings and bottle it up for a long period of time, they often tend to have serious illnesses like headaches, arthritis, and migraine. It acts up in one of the elements of wellness. The reason I chose to talk about this topic today is because right now we are all isolated and most of us are spending our times at home quarantined. It's very easy for all of us to give into binge eating and grazing behavior. It's usually associated with stress, and right now, stress about everything. And questions like, how am I supposed to not eat when there's only one thing that's on my mind, and that is food? While I'm having my breakfast, I think about what I want to eat for lunch. And when I'm having my lunch, all I think about is what I'm going to eat for dinner. And of course, not to forget the Netflix snack and the movie bar. Look, it is not always easy to take the necessary actions to create change. However, without taking any actions, you won't be able to make any changes. And the only thing you need to do is become aware of your habits that are getting into your way to achieve a well balanced lifestyle. Understand that wellness is a practice and a process, a dynamic process, which involves constant initiation, sincere commitment, and a conscious improvement of the whole self. In order to embark on the wellness journey, you need to explore various tools along with discovering methods that work best for you. It takes frequent adjustments and modifications to find out what works best for you, your schedule, your routine, and your body. This does not mean wellness is unreachable, but rather the exact opposite. Wellness is a lifelong road of discovery and growth. Now, why is wellness important? Wellness is important because it impacts so many areas of our lives. We need to understand that if we want to function in this endlessly changing world, we need to be well balanced. The key here is balance. By acknowledging the constantly changing nature of life, the aim is to strike balance by paying attention to all areas of wellness. You need to take responsibility by simply choosing to live a balanced way of life. And that responsibility comes through self awareness, meaning by understanding both the causes and the consequences of your actions. No matter what your current status of health might be, anyone can improve their level of well being. There is a lot of research that suggests that the decisions and the habits that an individual makes every day are the strongest elements of a wellness lifestyle. So, when we speak of wellness, it's just not about taking an aspirin for the headache, it's about treating the root of the problem. When a symptom like this occurs, it's more of a message that something needs attention. It could be the fact that you're extremely stressed, or could be that you're overthinking. So, in order to achieve a wellness lifestyle, we need a balance in all the five pillars of holistic wellness: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and social. Most of us know what these aspects consist of, but are we really doing justice to each of the well being elements? Are we able to achieve that balance in our everyday lives? See, you don't have to look at achieving the ideal lifestyles because that might seem unachievable. Wellness is a systematic discipline for focusing on what is essential and eliminating everything that is not to you. Now, what I'm going to share is a few recommendations from experts in the field of wellness industry and a few other strategies that I have been personally implementing and finding it quite fulfilling and achievable. Number 1, I have been reading up a few articles on Forbes and I came across Dr. Serena Goldstein's piece of advice. She is a naturopathic doctor who specializes in hormone concerns. One of my best pieces of advice is to batch your time. What time of day do you like to work out? What is your most creative time? Use that time to think about how you can continue to not just organize your life, set yourself up for the future, and truly create it from the heart. That way, you have a general routine plus some flexibility. And keeping that in mind, I tried forming a routine for myself. And I promise you it works. I know adjusting in the new normal is not very easy, but try having a routine and try spending your time productively, and you will see a difference in the way you feel about yourself. Number 2, when it comes to the social aspect of wellness, a very interesting research article by Harvard states that one of the best ways you can make a positive impact on your health is by putting your time and energy into your personal relationships. One of the key elements of a long and healthy life is being connected to people. Social connections are really good for us. One way you can do so is by simply trying to have a digital dinner with your family away from you, or a virtual happy hour with your friends, or a remote book club meeting. You can also send some dose of kindness to people you care for. Simply sending a kind note with a genuine message or expressing gratitude can leave a personal touch and have a lasting impact on people. After all, we all need a little extra kindness to counter the stress and the uncertainty of the coronavirus. The coronavirus pandemic has reminded us that human connection can spread illness, but human connection also encourages wellness. So let's take this opportunity to recognize the importance of personal relationships for our health and to practice leveraging technology for social well being. So, today, who are you going to send some kind words to? Who are you going to make happy? Number three. Number three. When striving to develop and practice your own spiritual wellness, it is best to find the technique and approach that works for you. Similar to the other dimensions of wellness, there is no one size fits all approach. In the recent years, I have realized the importance of spiritual well being, and it is soul fulfilling. It encourages introspection and offers clarity and comfort. A couple of things I have been practicing daily is yoga and meditation. It helps me to accept about where I am at in my life and recognize that this moment is the only moment there is. There definitely are physical benefits, but yoga is more than getting a good workout. I also spend some time practicing grounding and journaling. I've been maintaining a gratitude journal for a while now, and I recognize how it helps process my thoughts, my feelings, and my emotions. I am going to leave you all with a few questions to reflect on. Number one, of all the components of a wellness lifestyle, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and social, which is currently the most important to you? Number two, are you achieving balance between all of the wellness aspects at least 4 to 5 out of 7 days a week? Number three, what realistic steps could you plan to take right now to develop one or more of these components of wellness that are currently lacking attention or are out of balance in your life? And to end this episode, as Greg Anderson says, remember that the concept of total wellness recognizes that our every thought, word, and behavior affects our greater health and well being. And we, in turn, are affected not only emotionally but also physically and spiritually. So, the moment you think you're losing control, it's time to reflect on these dimensions and keep working on it until you build a strong foundation. I am personally trying to be more present in the physical world, meditating and journaling, and cooking food for pleasure, not fuel. I am also, most importantly, trying not to beat myself up so much if I don't get around to following my new rules. To following my new rules. If I don't get around to following my new rules and taking one step at a time, every day and every moment. Thank you for joining me this week on the Happiness Project. Stay tuned and make sure you never miss a single episode of the show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for all your support. And if you like this episode, please share it with as many people as you can. Because sometimes all it takes is one push for someone to transform their lives. Let this podcast be that push.